One. Hello.
Hello, my sister. This is Regina from Atlanta.
Hello, Regina.
Hello, my wine sister Regina and new wine sister Donita Dyer. Together, we are
Wine Sisters of the Vine.
Yes, we are.
We are so excited for our season 2, episode 3, and we have the lovely Donita Dyer all the way from British Columbia, right?
Yeah.
Did I say that right? Vancouver, British Columbia.
Yeah, you did.
Okay, fantastic.
Welcome.
To have you.
Yeah. It's nice to talk with you too and see you. So
yes.
Lovely.
I love it. I love to be able to connect and like see your pretty faces and your smiling faces. It gives me inspiration for the next day. So we'll go ahead and get started on this conversation. So Donita and I met at a wine bloggers conference. This has been 5 years ago in Lodi, California, where I also met Carrie, but the two of them did not meet. So this is all about a connection conversation today. So Donita, we want to know more about your background and how you got into the wine space and what you're doing now.
Oh gosh, that's a lot. That's a loaded question.
It's loaded. Cheers to that.
Cheers to that.
I'm gonna need a sip. So cheers.
This is why we love Wine Sisters of Vine, because we do many sips throughout the whole conversation.
Oh, good. I'm glad. This is my kind of group.
Yeah.
Gosh. Okay. Shoot it at me, because now I don't remember what you asked.
Yeah. So, just give us a little bit about your background. Obviously, we met at a wine bloggers conference, so you have some foot or toe or something in the wine space and what that is, and then tell us what you're kind of doing now, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the wines in your area, and then just how we have been able to evolve through this whole pandemic.
All right. Well, you'll remind me as we go. Hopefully.
As we go, yes.
If anything, 2020, I'm not remembering what I did last month. So there we go.
Right? Probably remember more what you did 5 years ago.
So yeah, I'm in the wine industry now, but I wasn't always in the wine industry. I hopped in like 2013, just kind of shifted over from tourism, which tourism and travel had been my career basically, but in sales and marketing. So I was like, ooh, I was doing more entrepreneurial stuff in Vancouver, and I was just intrigued by wine, but I knew nothing. So I would be like, oh, someone would say, taste this. And they'd be like, what do you taste? Grapes? Like, no clue. I'm like, how did they get the mushroom smell in there? Did they inject it in the bottle? I had no clue how wine was made, like nothing. So I started 2013, I started from scratch. I tried to get a job with a distributor, like transferring my tourism skills. And he said, oh no, you're in the wine space. They need to take you seriously. So you need to know your stuff. So you got to start at the ground zero and move up. So I started in retail. Well, I studied WSET 1 and WSET 2. Yeah. And then I moved to work with a couple sommeliers. And then from there, I got into my first sales job. Finally, after all those years. And that's when that's when I had WSET 3. And I think I took French Wine Scholar. You got that, I think, as well. And I took a champagne course as well through the French Wine Society. So it was like this few years of just like learning like a sponge and taking it all in. I'm like, yeah.
It's kind of like you go down this rabbit hole and you just, I felt like, I didn't never want to come out of it. So.
Oh, I know. Totally rabbit hole. Like you just like, it's just like, whoa. But then honestly, WSET 3, I failed it the first time and I passed it the second time, and I passed it with really good marks. So that was good.
Good.
My brain was spent.
It's fried. It's totally fried.
Yeah. My books are over there in a cupboard.
It is no joke. That whole path is not. Is an arduous task.
It is. It's not easy, but it's yeah. So it was good. Like, I mean, I love it when you can get outside of your box and challenge your brain to think differently, and then to and then to study after years of studying.
Yes.
I learned one great thing is that in high school, I don't think I actually ever knew how to properly study.
Right.
And that's probably why my marks reflected what they and then into college. So when I took the W sets, I actually learned how to effectively study for me. And I'm like, holy heck, I wish I knew that like years ago.
Yeah, it really, I totally agree with you there, because it took me to another level of study and commitment. I would not like go to the movies on the weekends. I would have my maps out, and it was just, I was totally immersed, and I wanted to really like get it. And there's so much information and so much material that you just have to immerse yourself in it.
Yeah, I agree. Like visual, hearing, saying it out loud, writing it down.
I have a stack of postcards or those little index cards that's, front and back, unbelievable.
Yeah. That's crazy.
I love it.
Did you, Carrie, did you take W sets as well?
I did not. I just teach, I teach in the education program, in the Linfield Wine program.
You're the other end teaching us all about
my learning is definitely organic in nature. After growing up on a vineyard, it was definitely an organic experience, as in osmosis, having sort of being enveloped by grapevines and, wine filtering in the basement and fermenting in the basement and having fruit flies on the mirror. That was my chemistry part of it.
And so you had all the things that I didn't have, because I didn't grow up on a vineyard. I knew nothing about wine when I started down this path. So you're kind of like the peanut butter to my jelly.
Here's to that, my wine sister. You know what? We are all complementary to each other, connecting from Georgia, British Columbia, and Oregon. So here's to that.
Here's to that.
That's right. So I'm going to share what I'm tasting right here today. And thank you so much for sharing your time with us, Donita. We're so happy to have you here in our wine space.
Such a good idea.
Yeah. So here's, this is actually a Sauvignon Blanc, and it was developed by Michael Mondavi, who is in the Mondavi family. And it was actually developed, it's 2019 Sauvignon Blanc. Can you guys see the label?
Yes.
See what it says on it? Norwegian Cruise Lines. So he developed it for Norwegian Cruise Lines, which I think was really very clever.
Nice.
I'm fascinated by that, because our theme, of course, in this season is reopening and re-envisioning travel, and we're all so excited about it. But I would highly recommend this Sauvignon Blanc. I suppose that it would be analogous to a Sauvignon Blanc from the Mondavi family. But anyway, it's delightful. And it's got a lot of really soft, like Asian pear, and nice balanced acidity, and really a nice springtime sipper for what we're talking about. I know it's getting hot, much hotter over there in Atlanta, right, Georgia?
Oh my gosh, it's pretty warm, and the humidity is starting to do what it does in Georgia.
So I'm pretending it's hotter than it is here in Oregon. There's a couple clouds in the sky, but doesn't matter, because I've got my Sauvignon Blanc and you guys. So
absolutely
lovely.
So then, Donita, quick question for you. So we've gone through this whole year of just total unknowns with the pandemic and all the things that have happened. And I think, so Carrie and I came together because, we knew each other, and we've been wine sisters for a really long time. But we had so many commonalities with what was going on with the pandemic and then the civil unrest in both areas through the whole George Floyd thing. And so we just felt like, we needed some light at the end of the tunnel. So tell us how you were able to then adapt to what was going on, and then how did you pivot, and what was going on with you in 2020, and how did you get from there to now? And we're in 2021.
It seems like a loaded question for all of us, honestly. Yeah. Like, I don't think one of us is unaffected in some percentage, which is crazy. I mean, we watched and kind of got the residual of the US news We got all the lessons from it, like wake up and smell your own coffee, Canada. Hello. Yeah, a lot of that going on, and a lot of resistance to that, I think, before people actually started pivoting and doing stuff up here. Okay. But for me, well, I work from home, so I'm self-employed. I've got a marketing communications company, and I work primarily in wine. And so last year, everybody was just being squeezed, kind of like, we don't know what we're supposed to do. Are we supposed to work on the same budget when we're not actually bringing in money? And are people going to shift to going in person to buying online? Like, that was the beginning of last year, right? Yeah. So I had some good accounts at the beginning of the year. It was going to be a stellar year. And then COVID. So then everything shifted in kind of like March, April, and it was kind of doing this. And then by July, August, lost all my accounts. Yeah. So COVID finances. But in the spring, my mind was already kind of going, okay, if businesses are thinking this, then what about me? They're not, if they're thinking twice about hiring me, how am I going to pivot? Right. So I kind of started this little thing of, well, maybe I need other revenue streams, and it's not just what I'm doing, like right in my wheelhouse. So I kind of like jumped off the platform here and was like over there going, well, how about affiliate marketing? Random. Yes. So I kind of created a little creative outlet and a side project of affiliate marketing to sort of teach myself a whole bunch of new stuff. So it's been like a brain twist for sure. I don't even know if that's the right comment, but no,
I totally get that.
It's like, yeah, I'm like, whoa, okay. So built a website. I'm still learning SEO and how to blog appropriately for an affiliate marketing. Yes. So I'm still not there yet. I'm still learning, but that's kind of how I pivoted, was kind of like, okay, do the opposite of what you're doing. Get outside the wine industry, look for jobs, and look for contracts. Yes. You know, what are you worth? Am I charging enough for myself? Exactly. I went with that. And
know your worth, sister.
Yes, exactly. And, you know, I think it's very common to, when you're working in the industry, to just keep your rate so that you get work. And lots changed there too. And then last year, me and two girlfriends here, and maybe we were all thinking at the same time through whatever, women power. Yes. We started what's called Freelancing Females in Wine, based on wanting connection, wanted an inclusive, supportive community for all women working in wine. And so it's been our goal to sort of have more people find us and join.
Very cool.
But that's been our thing, just much like, I mean, inspired by you guys doing this.
Cheers to that.
Cheers to that. That's awesome.
Yeah, cheers to what you guys are doing too.
Yeah, well, you know, we're all doing something in that department.
And it just takes, you know, one person, two people, three people, and then, you know, it really, it kind of gathers like a bonfire. It erupts into all this diversity and inclusiveness, and women, you know, propelling themselves in this space. And so I think it is a fantastic idea of what you guys have done.
Yeah, we'd like to see it grow. I'd like to see yours grow too. I think it's so funny how maybe we didn't talk about it as much before, but look at all the other stuff about even women issues that we don't talk about, or even men issues. Like, it's time to start talking and just making it part of everyday conversation. Yes. So this crap doesn't happen as often or at all.
Yes.
Yeah.
And highlighting our commonalities, as Regina pointed out, that's a very good point, Donita. It's time to start talking about this. That's exactly why Regina and I started this whole thing.
Really good.
Because, you know, we're all the same person underneath our skin, you know, and Regina's famous phrase makes so much sense. It's like, you know, we all have the same color heart.
I mean, it's really, really irrelevant, the shell. Because once you kind of peel back that onion, there's so many things we have in common that you don't even realize. Not that I don't think you see my, you know, chocolate mocha latte skin. It's not that. It's just the person, the human being You know, I think
Well,
you really see inside of them, you know, the exterior.
Well, and also
if we
we,
were to
we value
peel,
being authentic too inside our own skin. You know, I can be my curly, curly haired blonde white girl, and you can be your beautiful brown mocha skin, black girl, and we can still have the same amazing amount of commonalities and experiences. We're both daddy's girls. I mean,
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean,
the list is long.
I think all of that melts away once you start to have the conversations. And these are true, authentic conversations. And so that is appealing to me. And I want to connect with women from anywhere and everywhere. I don't care what they look like. I don't care what their skin color is. I don't care what their eye color is. I learn from other people's stories. And I love hearing other women's stories. So to me, it is a great opportunity for us when we can get together and share these stories
totally, I
authentically.
totally agree. And it's nice too that you created that, and I guess that we did too, at a time when there's so much negative energy out there. It's nice to have something positive to sort of take as the silver lining from it. I mean, there's so much more out there, obviously, but this is one little thing that can hopefully make a difference across in your country and across in our country. I mean,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think the more that we can do this type of conversation, I think you bring more people in, because I think there's more light in the world than darkness. It's just that the darkness seems to, permeate every, space. And it seems like the darkness is winning, but it's so not. Love over hate, all of the things that we're talking about win all the time.
Right, like the testimony of people in the George Floyd trial, the ones that are really making a difference and telling the truth.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
and there's light right there,
Yeah, that's light.
That's light. That's light. Those are people telling the truth and telling an authentic story. So I want to know what Regina's drinking over there.
So I was going to do a little Bordeaux Blanc, and I love my little Bordeaux Blancs. But Carrie had her Sauvignon Blanc over there. It's so warm here in Atlanta. Like, people are in shorts and tube tops now, and pollen is really out. So I changed my mind and wanted to go with this little bubbly. It's a little Spanish cava.
Very pretty.
It is a pretty salmon color, has the right amount of bubble. This is Garnacha grapes, and this is the bottle. I don't know if you can see it.
It's a really pretty bottle.
Yeah, it is a really pretty bottle. They also make this in a, standard, the regular brut white. So the 3 grapes that make cava. But this one is so delightful because it's a little rosé. So you have a little strawberry, a little red fruit, and it's just a light bubbly. I just needed this little kickback to remind myself that there is coolness in the world, and it is really, really hot here. So this little bubbly is making me happy right now.
Cheers. Sounds lovely. Yeah.
Nice choice.
Nice. What is the temperature?
It was 79 here today, which is hot, with the humidity, and then with the pollen, it's really, really warm here today.
Gosh. Oh my gosh.
And so the humidity makes it feel like it's, 85, 90.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love humidity. I'm in dry country, and
okay. Well, can we switch?
Yeah.
Because your the hair gets really big over the day. It's so much humidity in the air, and then the pollen. Like I said, it's everybody's car is green. Nobody knows what anybody's color car is right now because every color is green.
Oh wow. Okay, our pollen is not green. It's invisible.
It's invisible. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you have really bad allergies, Georgia is not the best place. They say, we have all the things going on in Georgia. So if you are, and if you have allergies, and I had horrible allergies. I took shots, so that's why I'm not looking like a bumblebee right now.
I just started, speaking of allergies, make it quick, but I just started an allergy therapy, but it's to do with acupuncture and Chinese medicine.
Really? Okay, you let me know how that goes.
So it's like they test your muscle reactiveness,
Mm-hmm.
and then they're trying to basically reconfigure your blueprint of your body through acupuncture.
Really?
And getting
Okay.
it not to respond and put a block up to each of these different elements. So
Okay.
I'm hoping this is gonna work.
Yes, I have to tell you, my allergies were really horrible. I mean, I would swell, and I was allergic to everything. No food allergies, unfortunately, but everything environmental. And so Georgia just happens to have its, lion's share of everything that makes my body go crazy. I've lived here all of my life, so I don't know. I mean, you would think my body would have gotten used to it by now, but it hasn't. So I took the shots, and so for about 9 years, I've not had really bad symptoms.
That's good.
That's
Mhm.
awesome.
Allergies aren't fun.
No,
No.
not at all.
Was there something about Think Pink or Pink Tank or something that I heard some news about
Yes.
out there in the Okanagan Valley? Yeah.
Well, so the Pink Tank is actually started by, do you know Chris Kern?
I know the
Forgotten
name.
Grapes. He actually attended a few blogging conferences, and
Right.
he lives in California. And I met him, and the two of us actually started it, but he got really, really busy launching one of his new projects, and we just kind of fizzled out a bit. But then I took on Christine, and I said, come fill his shoes, let's create this and just have fun. Because rosé, going 5, 6, 7 years ago, it was still kind of like coming back up and exciting. And I'm like, I love rosé, so let's do something like this, right?
Right.
So we created the Pink Tank, and so the Pink Tank is all about rosé wine video reviews, and it's meant to be fun and playful, a little education, but really a place where we, the two of us, can just be goofs.
I love that.
Goofs
That. And I love rosé. I mean, it's like rosé time. It's rosé all day as far as I'm concerned.
We're just gonna have to have you guys on the show and talk about rosé.
I would absolutely love that.
Good idea.
May is Rosé
Fantastic idea.
Wine Month, and there's rosé just popping up all over the place. Everybody's doing all these rosé promotions. So
Yeah, it's a beautiful time for rosé.
Yeah. I can't wait to, well, I should get out to the store a bit more often. I tend to work from home and stay here, but I need to get out, go see what's happening in the rosé aisle.
So the name of it is the Think Pink.
It's the Pink Tank.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
we use the hashtag of drink pink like many people do, but it's the Pink Tank. Yeah. So we've got YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook.
Nice.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I love that.
We'll have to promote that too on our website, Regina.
Absolutely. We need to do that for sure.
Yeah.
Likewise. Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's what it's all about, for sure.
It's about having fun and not making it too staunchy and
Oh no.
Not what it used to be, wine.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. We want no pretense. It's wine, right? And it's fun, and it's a happy time. It should be a happy time to talk about wine. It shouldn't be so serious that we can't enjoy the people that we're with, who are with, and the foods that we enjoy with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. So I wanted to hear a little bit about the Okanagan. Speaking of wine and fun, and that might be something we need to explore, Regina.
I think so. I think a trip is in the future.
Oh yes.
Good.
Now we're vaccinated.
Have you guys never been up here to BC?
That's right. I love it. Yes.
I have.
I honeymooned in Salt Springs Island.
That's random, and that's great.
Right. I mean, it just made sense at the time, but I love it. We loved them. Tender Island, Salt Spring, Ganges.
You're in the coast. That's my home.
Really?
So the Okanagan Valley is like 3.5 hours east of Vancouver.
Okay, and that is the big wine region.
Yeah, it's our biggest and first wine region here, and it goes from it goes from south to north. As I go north to south, that makes sense.
Right. I know what you meant.
And it's
Totally know what you
at the
meant.
very top end of the desert that comes from Baja California.
Oh wow.
Oh.
So that desert that comes all the way up ends in Oliver Osoyoos, which is in the South Okanagan. So they've got a lot of sandy, dry soils, very hot during the day, diurnal temperature swing, then the books they're talking. And so it's like hot during the day, cool in the evening, a huge lake, Okanagan Lake. So it's a great wine region.
I was going to say, it sounds like a beautiful wine region.
Yeah, there's quite a few wineries now. So I moved up here in 2017 just because I thought it might be a good idea to change the scenery.
Nothing wrong with changing scenery.
So I work remotely, so it doesn't matter where I am, but it's quite pretty. I mean, obviously, I think no matter what wine region you are going to or living in, it's beautiful. Like the sunsets, just seeing the vineyards and driving around. And, you know, instead of seeing trucks with certain industries on it, you're seeing like apple boxes and you're seeing wine tanks, and, you know, it's like an agricultural valley, but it's just got its nuances that, you know, are all about wine, which is kind of cool. So yeah, that's where I'm in a suburb outside of Kelowna. So I'm in West Kelowna, and it's about 20 minutes away from the city. And that's just one of two main cities that has an airport down here. So, or up here, I guess I should say, higher elevation than Vancouver.
So if you were going to be tasting wine, because next time we go, we have to do that whole circuit. Where would be interesting wineries you think that would highlight diversity, women winemakers?
Oh gosh, there's a lot. You two would love it. It's like truly the valley's smartening up in terms of varietals that they're growing. They have for years. We're being internationally recognized finally, which is nice. But there are a ton, probably like a lot of places, of small wineries, but a lot of women winemakers.
Love that.
So it's really lovely to see them come to light, showing off their talents. And then at the same time, we're having international recognition. Like, hello, great timing.
Yes, awesome.
Yeah, amazing. So it's hard to say like which one, but definitely we do Cab Franc, we do Syrah really, really well towards the south. And then towards the north, it's cooler. So we're doing a lot more Rieslings. You'll find even Gruner, Ehrenfelser, things like that, a bit cooler climate, some great Pinot Noirs too. It's a mix. We've got the odd winery that's like experimenting with like, you know, Dolcetto and Teroldego and Touriga Nacional, and you're like, hallelujah.
That's Touriga Nacional, right? Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's fantastic.
So there's some things that grow in the south and grow in the north that are not common to the whole region or to BC.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. Well, and I know there was also a few in Salt Springs on the islands.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. They've got Sea Star on on Salt Spring Island.
And I also noticed you have a wine festival that looks quite notable in Vancouver.
We do, the Vancouver International Wine Fest. It's actually the biggest consumer wine fest, I believe, in North America.
Wow.
Yeah.
When does that happen?
That happens usually towards the end of February, beginning of March.
Okay.
So obviously
but last year,
2022,
we got in just before the whole shutdown began.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
It's amazing though, so educational for trade and so fantastic for consumer. There's usually over 300 producers, so hence they're all bringing in a couple SKUs of wines. It's amazing.
That sounds fantastic. Sounds like a 2022 visit.
I think it is.
Oh, it is. Yes. Oh my God. Yeah, that would be February 2022. There's hope. Here's to that. Let's have a toast.
Yes. Let's hope we can have a little bit of new normalcy going on.
I would welcome it.
Yes.
The new normal. You can't say new normal because that's just impossible to go back.
Yeah, I don't think I think there's so much that has happened over this last year that it has to be a new normal for us to, you know, kind of get on track.
Well, how do we evolve if we say we're going back to normal? Exactly. We have to move forward and like evolve into something.
Forward progression.
Yeah, it's crazy, hey? How about for you two? Like, how did you kind of pivot?
So I have a retail wine shop, and we do tastings and you know, we pivoted. I closed doors for like 5.5 months, where we didn't allow anyone into this shop. We would have been able to be open, like to have people come in, but you know, because of the pandemic, I didn't know what we were working with. We pivoted and put a huge billboard on the main interstate and to say that we were taking phone orders and curbside service, and nothing else on the street was open. So we are in a small town and they have street parking. So we just took over the whole street. And so we converted our tasting station to the pickup station, and we wore tennis shoes every day because we were taking orders out to people's cars, and we had our wine club. And so people just like totally enrolled in our wine club, and that's how we pivoted. And you know, we've been took all of our in-house tastings that we would bring winemakers in. We, you know, had conversations with them and say, hey, we can meet us on a Zoom call to connect with consumer. And they were definitely open to it. And so that's what we did. We took all of our tastings in-house and put them online.
You did exactly what the wineries did, but you did it at the shop. So smart. Oh my gosh. I mean, I think, and also the pivoting that we did last year and the stuff like what you did, it sets you up for now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And so now we are like working with so many organizations to do like fundraisers, and they find like this is not work intensive to, you know, have a golf tournament where you have to have the tents and all the things. They, you know, charge whatever they want to charge, and you know, we get the business, they get the money for the fundraiser. It's been actually great. We've had like, we did more business during the pandemic than probably the year before.
Wow, that's inspiring. That's
it
incredible.
is. We've been open 2 years. We had just celebrated 2 years being open, and then the next week we were shut down.
Oh man!
So it's incredible what you can do with, you know, adversity.
I like to say the universe, whoever you believe in, whether it's God, the universe, or whatever, is a woman with a half a glass of wine. And she's like,
she sure
oh,
is.
So do you? Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, okay.
Their own agenda, right? So it's like, oh, you people aren't going to get smart. You're going to shut this world down.
Yes, exactly. And then we're going to see who comes out, you know, on the other side. And
right.
It's amazing that, you know, I love it. I love that whole concept.
That's hilarious. I actually.
So now you're going to be like,
no. I talked to Regina. We started this whole episode, our season 1. We started it in June of 2020, just as the wildfire, well, just all of this crazy stuff was happening. We started filming when both Atlanta, Georgia, and Portland, Oregon were totally full of riots and, you know, people protesting for good causes and people who were trying to cause trouble in the midst of all of that. And Regina and I mean, I just thought, you know, we have to do something positive in the middle of this world gone crazy. So in the meantime, I felt very lucky with my own business to have my primary winery client be literally right across the street. I could walk up my driveway. I live in a little rural town out here in the Willamette Valley wine country. And I could walk up my driveway and walk across the road and then walk up the driveway to their house.
Oh, that's
fantastic, right?
I didn't even have to put a mask on because I didn't even see anybody on my gravel road or anyway.
And you got all your steps in as well.
I did. So yeah, right. And then Regina and I would tape our episodes, you know, every couple of weeks, and we consistently did that. And we maintained sanity by connecting, and that's pretty much, you know, and all of my kids came, my 2 college kids were home, living at home, and our high school daughter was at home. I had all 3 children back in the residence who Regina got to know them because they'd ask, when are you going to film with Regina? We want to talk to Regina. It wasn't about me anymore. It was about Regina. They'd photobomb and they'd run in there. Where's Regina? We want to talk to Regina. I wasn't cool anymore. Now Regina's the cool one.
And then you get a puppy in the middle.
Right. Then we got a puppy, and then we had wildfires, and just forward you to have these
I
epic
think
webinars.
one episode, Donita, let me tell you. So Carrie was sitting outside, and behind her, all I could see was like this smoke haze, and I'm like, "Hey,
What's the
you see
fog?
what's behind you? Are you okay? Can you?" And you had to pack your, car to get ready to go just at a moment's
Yeah.
notice.
Yeah, crazy.
So the determination and the grit that women have is amazing. And I think that, all of us have it in us. And just, I think as you connect with other women, you just realize, hey, this woman is just like I am, and I can learn from her. Well, I can learn from her too. And so, Donita, so tell us, like, as we start to kind of come out of this seemingly, weird space that we've been in, this unknown space, what drives you? Like, well, how do you get motivated to like go to the next day? Because obviously it's not easy. I mean, after what we've been through in the past year, what drives you? Like, how do you get up and say, okay, I'm gonna go hit it again today. I might get knocked down, but I'm gonna go hit it today. What drives you to continue to move forward?
You know what? Well, I think you've always got to have that, maybe the pillars set up to propel you forward. And I think I've got my pillars, and I think it comes from our experiences last year. Connection. Honestly, being closed in and told you couldn't go anywhere, you can't see people, just made you want it more. It changed something within me, I think. And now I'm just like, I'm connected to my women. And that's important to me, I think, more than ever before. And I think it's because we talk more. It's given me more of that understanding my value and my worth, and that, we're all normal and this is just natural and all the rest of it. I think that helps propel me forward, because it's like, yeah, I got this. And then of course, when you watch Wonder Woman, like, what the heck?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that woman's just like amazing. So, that coming out in the midst of last year, and then meeting the connection and just like valuing it, if that's the word, more than ever before. I kind of feel like that's the drive now underneath me. It's not just me trying to make it. It's kind of like, I want to show up. I want to have value. I want to give back. I want
to give back. Yes.
I want to do it differently. Obviously, I want to evolve. And so I think it's like that sets me forward. It's all of those things, really.
Like, I feel like I'm standing on the shoulders of all the women who, inspire me, and every time I make that next move, I'm standing on their shoulders.
And like, you know what? So true with what you guys are doing, what we're doing with freelancing females and chatting more. It's kind of like, exactly. I'm feeling inspired by the ladies beside me and what they're doing and what they've done. And it's like, oh, that's interesting. And it's like, it's changing things. And I'm loving it. I'm loving this conversation about anything and everything, because it sets off little fires all around.
It sets off little fires all over.
You're just like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, I like that one. I love it. I love
like
it.
A big bonfire, in a good
so,
way.
I know you're talking to me and asking me that, but for you two, what did you find that is propelling you forward now?
Yeah, I mean, I told Carrie, I watch Super Soul Sunday, like, it's like my second faith. I have my God faith, and then I have Super Soul Sunday. And I learn from stories. So I'm always seeking out people who are doing amazing things and what drives them. And so recently I heard this whole interview with, and I love football. I'm an Atlanta Falcons girl. I grew up in Atlanta. But I watched this interview with Tom Brady, and I got like nuggets from him unexpectedly. And it really made me like, oh, okay, I get what he's saying. And so that is the thing. So like, where you think you're not connected to someone, another human being, you are. And so the fact that he is a white male.
Even if it's Tom Brady.
I mean, it's Tom Brady, but
I love it.
I listen to so many. I mean, we lost so many giants in the last year. You know, John Lewis, who, you know, I grew up in Atlanta, so John Lewis was somebody I could physically see in the community doing things. Cicely Tyson, we lost many giants. And so I have learned from all of them, and I feel like I'm standing on all of their shoulders. And so as we continue to evolve, I want to be the shoulder that somebody else can stand on. And so you know, I feel like as we share these stories and share our experiences in an authentic way and just let all that other stuff wash away, things happen. It's like a little magic. It's like a little fairy. It's like the dust.
It's an invisible fairy. It happens naturally. I mean,
yes.
in that example, Carrie's kids came home last year, new dog. How are they not exposed to the magic that you two are creating? Like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And your clients, Regina, who saw you pivot at a time where it was turmoil, they're inspired by what you're doing, you know, like it's kind of awesome.
It's kind of awesome. And like when I think about what you've done, you know, you guys have been, you know, I've been following you guys for forever, you know, and so I love everything that you're doing. So Carrie, I know, like, we got to have a conversation. We had a conversation with Carrie's mom, who is such a lovely lady. I've learned so much from her. She gives me inspiration because she was just, you know, in there fighting for her family, doing all the things that is necessary to create like Carrie and her grandkids. I mean, I am a world learner. So I don't care who you are, I'm going to learn from. If you have something to offer, I'm going to take a nugget from it.
Well, that's our slogan. Still, she persisted.
And we have some, let me just say, we have had some bloopers.
Yes, we have had some bloopers.
So let's just like don't, you know, the pretty picture is great, but let's just talk about the real deal about how things can happen in a day. And you know, we have elderly fathers who are, you know, doing their thing, and it's difficult. So you do have to lean on the women who are in your circle and sometimes outside of your circle
and
to like get through the day.
Example, if you talk more and understand that somebody else probably went through the same thing or experienced or has some sage advice that you would not have thought about, like, hello, like that's amazing.
That's amazing.
Well,
and so if you keep it bottled up for yourself, you never get to share it, and nobody else gets to hear it.
And if we don't ask people, they're not going to know to share it. Like, you know, let's open up Pandora's box of your mind.
Yes.
Well, I think I should let's propose a toast to the episode. It was lovely chatting with you guys, and still she persisted. Here is to both of you, and yes,
cheers,
resilience.
Thanks for chatting with me.
You're welcome.
Oh, my pleasure.
Cheers, you guys. This has been another episode of Wine Sisters. Cheers for change. Thanks for stopping by, Donita.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks, Donita.
You're welcome.
Love you.
Love you too.
Love you, my wine sister, Regina.
Love you more.